Welcome back, everyone. So today I want to talk about, well, how did the F1 tires perform on my car today? Granted, for those of you turning in for the very first time, this was originally a 1/18 scale WL Toys. It's now been cut in half, stretched to 1/10 scale to fit the Cadillac CTS-V body. It still has the original track width up front, but because I put Formula One tires up back, they now fill the rear wheel wells much better than that, right? So how did it perform? Well, before it looked similar on the front as it did the back when I had the same tires on all four corners. Every time I go into a corner, the car would like to oversteer, right? And for those who do not know, oversteer is a condition where the rear end wants to overtake the front end. This would be an oversteer. Understeer is when your tires are turned, but the car still goes straight, right? That's understeer. So I was having a severe oversteer condition every time I turn into a corner, letting off the throttle more specifically, which is a really weird thing, and it's kind of annoying. Granted, you're not going to win any races with this car, but it's a fun car to drive. I've had it for many years now. It's been very reliable. I can always put a battery in it and it'll go, and I can take this one off of a curb and not worry about it breaking, unlike the Tamiya I just did. So the rear tires offer a lot of grip to the fact that I'm actually getting understeer now when I'm accelerating out of a corner or through a corner. I'm actually getting a little bit of understeer. So I think I could either go with a wider front tire, which may end up being another set of rear tires. I don't know. I really don't want to go that way, but thinking that maybe adding some weight to the front, I'll maybe start off with an ounce. That's not enough. Add 2 ounces. I'm going to use sticky wheel weights, and I'm just going to slowly work my way up. But what a change in performance. Granted, this is not something you're gonna, unless you're racing another WL Toys car, you're not gonna win any races, any championships, or anything of that nature, right? This is simply for fun. This is a street bashing vehicle, and it's designed to go over bumpy roads. It has 20 millimeters of ground clearance up front before it hits the chassis, 25 millimeters of ground clearance in the back before it bottoms out. And I've already lowered the front suspension about 5 millimeters, but I still hit stones and stuff, obviously, because that's pretty low right there. We're looking at probably about 8 millimeters of ground clearance for the front air dam right there. So I could raise it back up and get some more ground clearance, but then more weight is going to be to the back, when in actuality I want to put more weight up front and raise the suspension back up to get a little more ground clearance, but have more mechanical traction up front, if that makes any more sense. Because aerodynamics, I find it hard to believe that aerodynamics are going to come into play in such a small vehicle. It just kind of looks nice. Maybe the rear one does if you're doing 60 miles an hour, but this car, I think last time I GPSed it, did 23 miles an hour. I could be wrong. I think it was 23. Maybe it was 27. Don't remember. I'll stick with the low end and say 23 miles per hour with the stock 550 brushed motor, and that's what it is. But yes, what a big difference having nice fat tires on. Makes me want to go to my Charisma M40S and order some fat tires for that one, because I have a similar condition, but it's not as bad because I have same size tires on all four corners and the racing slicks on all four corners, so it's not as bad. But I would like to have a little more grip in the back, but if I was to do it on the Charisma, the tires would be sticking out past the body, so that's the downside. Oh, one other thing is I think I mentioned that I might have to cut the plastic. I did not have to cut the plastic at all. The way it ended up fitting everything together, did not have to cut the plastic. As you can see there's where I cut the chassis in half, spread it apart, made a custom drive shaft, made custom half shafts, and just put a gap filler piece of plastic right here. And it is what it is. I forget what I use this for. Oh, that's my body support. That's what that's for. So there's that. Very easily done. So if you get bored of your WL toys or some other smaller vehicle, monster trucks of a smaller scale make good candidates for touring cars of a larger size. Just keep that in mind.